Let's go, guys. So basically, uh, this webinar will be focused on full stack development. As you can see the PPT right here, the first page, mastering full stack development. So we'll be focusing on a bird eye view, sort of, for the full stack development. Okay. So we'll see a bird eye view on what is full stack development, and how to basically master it properly, because you have to have a roadmap. You have to have that path, that you can see and follow to actually master full stack development. So first of all, who am I? I'm Abhay Kawas, and I've been teaching over 5 years right now. I have a privilege of teaching more than 3,000 aspiring full stack developers. My students have successfully are have launched their careers in big fours and a lot of very famous startups. So yeah, so I think um, it's not hard. It's, if you think about full stack development as a whole, if you are from a non-tech background, it might seem that it's very hard to get a proper opportunity in this industry. But to be honest, it's not that hard. So in this whole lecture, I will be covering a bird eye view of full stack development so that you can understand what's happening. Okay. So let's go, guys. So first of all, let's see the bigger picture of full stack development. Okay. In 2025. So again, when I talk about full stack development, you will think about something like a website, a web app like Amazon. Okay. You will think about something like YouTube, right? You will think something, if you are, currently working somewhere, you might think about a CRM or a LMS or something like that, right? So, and it is correct. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just everything is what you are thinking is correct. But there is something beyond that as well. Okay, first let's talk about the conventional one, then we'll talk about the what's beyond that. Okay, so first thing you need to know about is front end. Front end is the visible part of your application, the thing which you can see, the thing which is in front of you. Okay, if you go to Amazon, you first of all log in, you have a login form, you can see that login form, right? Then you go to products, like you can search products, you can write laptops and it'll search laptops for you, right? So that's front end. That's what you can see there, right? Then there is backend. Okay, backend is a bit different. Okay, backend I'll show you. Okay, in today's class I'll show you how you can maybe see the backend. Okay, I will show you the backend now. Right from now, like till now, you might not have seen backend. Okay, because backend works a bit differently. Okay, basically how backend works is, let's say you log in, you basically are sending backend your login information, your email ID, your password. Front end sends it to backend, and then backend says that, okay, I verify this user. Okay, I verify this user, you can log them in. So backend is the guy who's actually doing the real work, you can say. Front end is basically just the UI. Also, some functionalities are also can be made in front end, but most of the functionalities, guys, most of the functionalities are made in backend. Okay, if you are talking about writing business logic, I will definitely go for backend. Okay, I will write my business logics in my backend. I will never write it in the front end. Okay. Yep. I will cover that. What qualification needed for the student. Yep, I will cover everything. Okay, do not worry. First, just understand the thing. Okay, what we are talking about. So just to give you a small overview on the question that was asked. So anybody can enroll in this course. Anybody, from students to who are currently working, you know, or tech enthusiast. Anybody can join this course. There's no limit. Okay, because we start from very beginning. We don't just start from where somewhere in the middle of the programming. We'll start you from very beginning, we'll build the basics, and we'll then go ahead and do the other things. Okay, so that will be the flow of the course. You will understand what I mean. You will understand everything here, what we do in the course, and I'm going to give you a bird eye view for full stack development, then see if you like it or not. Okay, cool. So guys, front end everybody understood, back end everybody understood, right? In the backend, we have database. Okay, in the backend we have database. Front end does not have any relation to database. Backend only has the relation to databases. Okay, so you have databases where you store your data, where your login information is. So if you log in, if you give email and password, at that time what happens? The front end sends this data to the backend. Backend checks where it has to have some source to check, right? That source is database. Okay, somehow it checks with the database and validates that your username or your email and password is actually correct. Okay, now when you think about this whole process, you always think about YouTube, you might think about um, uh, Amazon, right? But it's not limited to that. Okay, guys, anybody tell me in the chat, okay, have anybody heard about Alexa before? Alexa as a service, like there is a device, Alexa device. Anybody has heard about that? Give me yes or a no in the chat. Or in that case, any sort of, yep, I see 1 yes, 2 yes, 3 yes. That's good. That's good. Even that, I'll tell you, Alexa device. When I'm talking about Alexa device, no, okay. Those who do not know about Alexa, just to tell you, it's basically a device, okay, with which you can talk. Okay, guys, it is again, I think it is sold by, it is made by Amazon. Okay, so basically what happens is, if you buy that device, you can basically talk with that device. You can say, hey, play me some music, play me, buy something from Amazon. If you want to rate something, you can do a lot of things with the Alexa device. Okay, and on top of it, developers can also build application for Alexa device. So there is a lot, the whole community of developers are there for Alexa. So Alexa is basically a device. Okay, just to show you, give me 1 minute. What I can do is I can go to, I'll just show you Alexa. This I'm going to write Alexa. So these are Alexa devices. Okay. Basically you can talk to them. Okay. Do a lot of things with them. Okay. So that's what Alexa devices looks like. Okay. I hope everybody now understand. It's basically a device which you can talk with. Just say Alexa and then, say whatever you want and then it'll work. Okay. So now that everybody has idea of what Alexa is, I consider Alexa as a front end. Okay, now this is a shocker, I know. Try to understand what I'm saying. For so far, for you guys, if you go to Wikipedia, wikipedia.org, this is the front end, right? This is the front end. Yes or no, guys? This, what you see here is front end. That's what I said just now, right? So for us conventionally, this is front end, and something, in the back end which is going on is the back end. Okay, I'll show you what's back end. But it can be anything. Okay, now broaden your view. Come to this device. Not only this device, you might have heard about Tesla cars. They run, they run on AI algorithms, right? You have heard about them, right? Come to that phase now. Now think about it. Broaden your view of front end and back end now. Now front end now becomes this device, and back end is on Amazon's server. So when you say Alexa, tell me the weather, it tells you the weather, right? When you say Alexa, tell me the weather, it tells you the weather. But the question is not this. When you say Alexa, tell me the weather, somehow it recognizes the voice. It sends the voice somewhere, to fetch that data. That somewhere is the Amazon's server, Amazon server room. Okay. So the data from Alexa device goes to Amazon server. Then Amazon server processes it, understands what you said. Okay. Alexa does not understand what you said. This device does not understand what you said. Amazon's server basically, gives you the actual data. Then it repeats, then it sends some information to Alexa, and then Alexa says that this is the weather. Okay. In this case, Alexa is our front end. Okay, guys, Alexa is our front end. So, and backend is Amazon server. Okay. Similarly, here in Wikipedia, let me just write car. So when I write car, you see a lot of information is coming around, right? Like let's say if I click on this car, correct? So you will see all these. So all the things that you can see, now try to understand. Okay. All the things that you can see is front end, and the things that you cannot see is backend. I will show you today the backend part also, the thing that you cannot see. I will show you how to see it in these kind of web apps. Okay, so now I think that we have a clear understanding of what it is. Let me also show you through a small, you know, drawing so that you can understand even better. Okay, let's say here we are. Okay, we'll come back to this drawing again and again to verify our concepts. Okay, so just understand what's happening. Let it open. Give it a minute. It's not opening. Let's try. Okay, I think I have an idea, better idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just open a white page, this in a new tab. Now what that will do for me is I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to use my zooms pen to annotate. Okay, so being said that, just think about this as a front end. Front end, again, do not limit yourself, guys. It can be a Tesla car, it can be Alexa, it can be anything in the world. It can be a web app. Okay, so do not limit yourself. So this is your front end. Okay, and this is your backend. Just to understand better what's actually happening here is, to understand better, let's say that there is a login form. Okay, I'm just considering traditional one, and you are writing email ID and password. This is email, this is password, and this is the submit button. Okay, this is the submit button. Let me just draw it out. Submit button. Okay, now you write email, you write password, and you click on submit. That's what you do, right? But after that, what happens? After that, this request goes to, this backend. How does this request goes to backend? Now that will be a question in your mind, right? How is this request going to backend? What's happening? How is it sending it? It is sending it in a format. The famous format, you can just learn it about like a format. For now it's called something else, but the format in this case is something called JSON. JSON. Okay, what's JSON, we'll see it later on, but just to tell you, what it is like, it's like basically this. Okay, like for example, curly brackets. Okay, press enter. So inside this curly brackets you have email and you have password, basically. Okay, password. So basically not exactly like this. So email is whatever email, abc@mail.com. That's your email, let's say. Okay, and password is something like a password. Okay, if it seems difficult for now, don't worry about it. Okay, because we will explain it in a lot more detail than this. Okay, but basically just to understand what happens is, when you write email and password, so email comes here, password comes here, it goes in this format, it goes to the backend. Okay, and the backend basically, it verifies this information with the database. Okay, how does it verify? What is the logic? That, don't worry about that. That's a black box for you now. Okay, black box means basically something, maybe you don't know what is happening inside of that, but something is happening. For now, we'll consider it as a black box. Okay, so this is the database, let's say, inside of backend. Maybe it's outside of backend as well. Sometimes it is outside, sometimes it is inside. So this is my DB. Okay, DB. Now, what happens is this information goes in the backend processes it, checks it with the database. If database says it's all good to go, it sends a request, it sends an information called success, and it sends a token with it, a login token with it. This token comes here, and basically you can log in through that token. Okay, don't worry about how that token looks right now. Basically, it's just bunch of character, a long character. Okay, so basically that's how it is happening. And not only on websites, but also in Alexa app. Okay, also there is also authentication. Okay, there is also everything, whatever we do here, we do in the Alexa app also. Okay, not only that, don't limit yourself. Go think bigger. Think about Tesla cars. They are doing the same thing. Think about NASA, space agency. They are also sort of having their front end and back end for their spacecraft and the servers down in the server rooms. So they're also sort of doing the same thing. So try to understand. When I talk about full stack development, I don't mean websites. Okay. I don't mean web apps. I mean all the systems. Okay. Yes, we teach you in terms of web apps, but we don't limit you. Okay. So if you understand and if you learn the whole thing, you'll be able to understand this as well. Okay. Now that we know a bigger picture, we have seen the bigger picture. Let's go and see what's next. Let me just wait a second. Let me just clear it out for just a second. Yeah, there it is. Clear all drawings. Okay, all good. So next is let's deep dive into front end development trends. Okay. Again, guys, feel free to ask questions. You might be thinking out, a lot about things. I want, your questions in the chat. I will be considering them. Okay. So if you have something to say, do not worry about it. Okay. Just think about, just ask whatever you see. If you're confused somewhere, you can definitely ask the questions. Okay. And that is the learning pattern that we follow. Okay. So can front end stand alone without backend in any case? Yes, it can. But it's very risky. Try to understand. Front end is client side. So if you're saying that I will write all the business logic on front end, that doesn't make sense. Why? Because you are exposing your secrets to clients, all the clients. You try to understand that. Wikipedia front end, you see that in your page. So somehow maybe I can grab your database from your front end and see it, right? See it. So that is why it's not advisable to do that, but it's not impossible. It is obviously possible. Okay. Because try to understand. Backend runs on a server, front end also runs on a server. What is a server? Do not think about server a lot. Think server like your computer. Your laptop is your server. Okay, so you can run codes on your laptop, right? So your laptop is a server, right? In a simple term, right? So you can write all the business logic in the front end as well. The problem is the security risks. Okay. And in nowadays, what is happening is backend, when it evolved a lot. Now it's just easier to write backend in backend, you know, if you compare it with the front end. So now it's very easier to write backend in Node.js, and I'll talk about it after a while. What technologies we use to write backend. Okay, but yeah, it's not impossible to write logic on front end for the question. Okay, so let's go ahead. What's front-end development trends, right? So, okay, first you need to know about front-end development. Okay, everything started in front-end development with three things: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, it started with it. Okay, currently we don't use it a lot, but we use it. Okay, we use React currently, but you need to understand everything is defined from HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay. Specifically, JavaScript is a very important language to learn, very important nowadays. Okay. So first you need to know what's actually happening. Okay. Now what's HTML, what's CSS, and what's JavaScript, and why did we came to React? Okay. Let's deep dive into this story. Okay. The story we will see in this example. So everybody can see the Wikipedia page, right? Give me yes in the chat if everybody can see the Wikipedia page. Give me yes in the chat, guys. Come on. Everybody can see the Wikipedia page, the car page. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So the things that you see in this Wikipedia page, this first page, you see all these text, you see all these things, all these cars, all these text, all these this image, this icon, this is a, again, I think this is also an image. This button, this is a button, by the way. All the things that you can feel like, you can see here, that is HTML. Simple. Okay. But let's go one step more. What's CSS? All the colors you see, you see some colors, there is a border of green, right? Then this is blue colored, right? When I hover over it, you see some underlines, right? This underline is also style. This color is also style. Okay. This is bold. This is also styling. Okay. This is CSS. Okay. And one more thing is CSS. Very important, guys. The layout. You see, one thing is, if you see in the Wikipedia page, that here this is the first thing you see, correct? This is a nav bar or navigation bar. Okay. This navigation bar has two parts. For now, let's just think about two parts. Okay. So the first part is this part. Second part is this part. Okay. Basically, I'm talking about the layout the navigation bar is built on. Okay. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? The layout, how it is built, side by side, and everything is like, in same place. This layout is also CSS is responsible for this kind of layout. So if you learn CSS properly, you will be able to build this kind of layout. Okay. Not only that, just see this layout. Okay. The navigation bar is here. Okay. The car, this is the like middle thing. Okay. Then this side thing is different. Okay. So there are multiple things. Even this appearance is a part. Okay. This all are part of one big, one big thing. This all are part of one big thing. I know my drawing is pretty bad. Um, Currently, I don't have the board to write. I don't know where it is exactly. So basically, I hope the concept is clear. I'm talking about the layout, guys. When I talk about layout, this is what is important. Okay. CSS is responsible for the colors, the stylings, the layout. Importantly, layout. I'm really putting a lot of pressure on this word called layout. Okay. I also want you guys also to take it very seriously. Okay. Because generally what happens is when we learn CSS, we only think about styling. But also layout is responsible. I mean, CSS is responsible for layout. Okay. And it is one of the most important things right now, because otherwise your whole thing will look very bad. Okay. So that is what HTML is doing. That is what CSS is doing. Now the question is, what then JavaScript is doing? What is, why JavaScript, right? Everybody thinking about it? Yes, no, in the chat. Why is there JavaScript? If HTML is doing, its job, HTML is doing all the content, CSS is taking care of all the styling, layout, functionality. Yes, very good word. Okay, functionality. What do I mean by functionality? Okay, when you go here and you write C, now you see a lot of things came. Even ChatGPT came here. Okay, that's good. It shows how popular is AI right now, right? Very popular, very popular. Okay, so when you write C, all this information came. How? How did this information came? Okay, this information is coming from backend. I'll show you how this information is coming. Okay, guys, today in this session, be there with me till the end. I will show you the API of Wikipedia, how this information are coming. I will show it to you. I'll give it in the chat, the link, the API's link. Okay, so be with me. Okay, so when you write C, it just shows this. Basically, this data is coming from backend, and what JavaScript is doing is JavaScript is sending that data to backend, the functionality, right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's what it means, when I say functionality. Okay, so when I write C, you see all these data, but who is sending it to backend? JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript can do a lot more things. Okay, oh guys, have you seen that dark mode, light mode in a website? Yes, no, in the chat. Dark mode, light mode. You can change your website to a dark mode. Yes. Only one yes. Only one has seen. Okay. A lot of people have seen this. That's good. That's good. Okay. So that is also done by JavaScript. That is a functionality, right? I mean, now you will say that, hey, it's just CSS, right? You're changing the color to background to black and the text color to white, right? But who is changing that? Who is dynamically changing that? So JavaScript can dynamically change your HTML and your CSS. Okay? On a click of a button, you are changing the whole colors. But how? JavaScript is doing that. So JavaScript has that strength to dynamically change your HTML and your CSS. Okay. Plus, it can send data to backend and get data from backend. It has, because see, JavaScript is a programming language. HTML is not programming language. CSS is not. HTML is a markup language. CSS is a scripting. Okay, we can script in it. And JavaScript is basically a programming language, a full-blown programming language, a very great programming language. Actually, currently JavaScript is the number one programming language. You can search. Okay. Um, so yeah, so that's how it is there. Okay. So JavaScript is very important. That's what I wanted to present to you. Okay. So JavaScript can alone change HTML and CSS dynamically. Okay. Plus it can contact with the backend. Okay. Plus it can talk to the backend. Great. We understand now what is HTML, what is CSS, and what is JavaScript. Now you will ask me, hey, wait. Now tell me that nowadays everybody is talking about ReactJS, Next.js. If HTML, CSS, JavaScript can do it all, why do we even need ReactJS? Why do we even need Next.js? That's correct. It can do it all, to be honest with you. The problem is the complexity. The more you code, the complex your code becomes. Okay. Now, React.js is basically built on top of JavaScript, okay? And it gives you a lot of things like components, okay? You can make components, login component, register component, button component. You can make components and it makes your life easy. It makes it very easy to implement things. It has a lot of things like, functional part of React.js. There are two kind of React.js. At first, there were class component were there. And then now it is shifted to functional component. Both are very good. Functional component, I like it personally a lot. It's the latest one. And basically what happens is, in a nutshell, what happens is, let's say you have a component for register. So you can just use it when you have made that component once, and you can use it a lot of times. You have made a navbar component. You're using it a lot of time, right? So you have to code once, and you can apply it everywhere. Okay, so components are there. Secondly, hooks are there in functional. I'm talking about the functional variant of React.js. In that variant you have something called hooks. Don't worry what are hooks and what are these components. Just try to understand. They made your life easy. Okay, we are writing less code, we are doing more. Okay, not only writing less code, we are writing efficient code. Okay, what do I mean by efficient code? So React.js works on something called a virtual DOM. So basically, whenever you are changing something, okay, let's say you're changing a name, okay, you are changing something. So it changes the virtual DOM, and virtual DOM changes the real DOM. Now, what is a DOM? Do not worry about it. DOM is basically a document object model. Okay. So I told you JavaScript can change HTML. Everybody heard that? Yes, no? JavaScript can change HTML, CSS. That's what I told you, right? How? Using DOM, document object model. So it uses document object model to change HTML and CSS. Okay. Now React.js created a new virtual a DOM, which is called a virtual DOM. So React.js, when React.js changes the code, it changes the virtual DOM, and the virtual DOM changes the real DOM. Because try to understand, React.js is built on top of JavaScript. Okay, so HTML is also there, CSS is also there, JavaScript is also there. Ultimately, React.js components and everything are rendered as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, not React. There is no such thing called React. Ultimately, when you push it to production, people are actually using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's just that for us developers, it's easier to, comprehend it, write it. Okay, there are a lot of UI components. There are a lot of reusability of things. Okay, you can reuse a lot of things. Does React.js works on the same way as Bootstrap? No. Bootstrap is a very different thing. Okay. I'll talk about it. So basically, no. Components means you can make the components. It's not pre-built components. Okay. When I talk about components, you are making the components. In Bootstrap, it's already built. Okay. Those guys who do not know about Bootstrap, do not worry about it. So basically, when I talk about components, you are making the components and you are reusing it. Let's say you made navbar. You are using that navbar on login page. You are using that navbar on register page. You are using that navbar on, you know, main home page, right? So you are reusing the components. So that component, creating components and everything is very, very easy. Okay. So used to understand React.js is a JavaScript. Nope, you are right. We call it a JavaScript framework. That's what I'm saying. It is built on top of JavaScript. It's a JavaScript framework, right? So, but try to understand ultimately it gives you JavaScript, CSS, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's what it gives you. Okay, when you compile the code, when you run the code, when you see the result, it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We call it React. Okay, cool, guys, that's good. Now, what's Next.js? Okay, so after React.js, what happened is with React.js, the problem was it was just client-side rendering. Okay, client-side rendering means like a front end. I told you, right? We cannot write logics in front end. Okay, the reason was client-side rendering because all the data will be available to the clients, will be available to the users, all the data. That's why we don't write any business logic in the front end, right? Now when I talk about Next.js, okay, when I talk about Next.js, it introduced something called SSR, which is server-side rendering, which secured your data. Now, with Next.js, you can write your backend and frontend at the same place. Okay, so that's what server-side rendering gives you. And it simplifies routing. Routing means going from login to register, register to home. So basically, the only difference between React.js and Next.js, I mean, not only, there are a lot of different. The most important difference, to be honest, will be in React.js, you have client-side rendering, which renders on the client side, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. They also render on the client side. But Next.js was built on top of React.js, can now render in the server side. Okay, got it? Okay, I see some comments. Okay, I see somebody are asking what is the meaning of framework. Very good question, actually. So, okay, think about framework as, let's say you know a lot of JavaScript. Okay, let's say you know a lot of JavaScript. What you did, you built a lot of functionalities, functions, and everything. You made it as a function, and you sort of made a package, which will help people, okay, to write code more, better. Okay, so basically you use JavaScript and wrote some functions and wrote some objects, wrote some classes. Okay, and you made this logic. Okay, and then you make it as a package. So you can say that that is basically a framework. Okay, you are building it on top of something. Okay, which is this, in this case, JavaScript. Okay, we'll see about it more. You will understand each thing in very detail. What is framework? Even how can you make your own thing? That is also a very good question if you think about it, right? So yeah. Okay, I want to focus on building healthcare system in the best class. Outbound isn't. Actually, healthcare system like EHR, I'm talking about some EHR system, right? Electronic healthcare system nowadays is on a boom, right? Um, Even I have personally worked with a healthcare system called Raise Hand. So I'll tell you, full stack can build anything. I mean, just think about it. You might be thinking to build an AI agent with it, right? To maybe sort of which receives calls and does everything, asks people, not receive call, maybe you want people to join in for a online consultation or something like that. So everything, all of these application, big application, can be built through full stack development. Okay, so full stack development again is a journey of building things. Okay, building very cool projects, very cool products. Okay, I mean, healthcare is one of the greatest thing right now going on with full stack development. So okay, okay. I'll see. Okay, sure. Guys, just for the time constant, I won't be able to, answer all the questions. Okay, but rest assured that, we'll be answering your questions more briefly as we go forward. So let's understand this now. Okay, so the learning journey will be, obviously, first you need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you go to React.js. Once you have a good understanding of JavaScript, what I mean by good understanding, so there are a lot of topics in JavaScript that you need to know. You have promises, you have async await, you have dot then, how to resolve a promise, everything. So I'm not going to go to the intricacies of JavaScript right now because my presentation is more of teaching you, what is the bird eye view of full stack development. Okay. So in that case, let's just go next for now. We will see back end trends, which Okay, backend development trends. Okay, so let's understand about backend first. Okay, so what is backend? Actually, let me show you backend. Okay, in person right now in this thing. I told you that I will show you backend. I told you that when I wrote C. Okay, please understand this, guys. Very important. When I wrote C here, what happened was I got these information. I told you that this information was coming from backend, okay, from a backend API. So let me just right click and inspect. I'll show you that, okay. Right click, inspect. Let me go to network. So network will basically show you, network will basically show you that which things it is connected to, means which networks is this page connected to, okay, what URIs or like whatever, okay. So it is connected to. If I write A, see this, can everybody see something happened, right? It fetched something. So if you click on the first one, okay, I can see, let me just get this thing, okay, and let me just open it in a new page. Let me just open it in a new page. So that's what it is. This is Wikipedia's backend, data from backend. So when I write C, when I write something called C, okay, CA actually, if you see here at the top, everybody can see this URL, en Wikipedia rest.php version 1, v1 means version 1, search slash title question mark, and then after question mark C, after question mark, okay. So I'm highlighting it, q equal to CA, so the query is equals to CA, okay, and limit is 10, so I can make the limit even 100, okay. So why limit is 10? If you see, limit is 10 because 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, I can make it 100, so it will just go a lot, right? Not here, I cannot make it 100 here because they have connected through their JavaScript. I can make it 100 here. So you will get 100 results. So these are 100 results of Wikipedia matching CA, matching CA. Okay. If you see, not only that, okay, let me tell you, this is called a JSON data. I told you about JSON, right? Right about there, where I was telling you how frontend was sending data to backend. I was telling you about that the data, the format of the data is JSON data, which it sends. This is the data it is. Okay. The response is also JSON data. So this is the response from the backend to here. So this is the API. This is the API's URI. Okay. Okay. So basically, if you see this page, see this carefully. Okay, guys, this thing here, this is first object which has a title CA. Okay, which has a title CA. If you go here, you have a title CA. What is the second title? California. Let's see. If you see, this is the second object and which has a title California, right? There is this third object which has a title Catholic Church. If you see, it's correct. It is there. So everything is there, but it's not stopping at Canada. It's going on and on till 100 because the limit here is 10 and the limit here is 100. Okay, guys, give me yes if everybody can understand so far what I'm trying to say. Yes, no in the chat. Okay, I see. That's good. Okay, so basically this is coming from backend. Now backend looks like this, front end looks like this. Now you know the difference, right? This, how you rendered JSON data to front end. Yep. So yep, that's the thing we cover in the whole thing, whole program. Basically, you will understand how to render all the JSON data in front end. Okay. How can, not only that, you can see, try to understand the best you learn when you apply things. Okay, so in basically in the program what we do is we teach things and we provide projects, open source projects, and when you contribute to these projects, when you have your own open source visibility, then you become a real developer. Okay, I'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, what I, yes, I know. Okay, yeah, I know, I mean, it's not very common thing, right? I understand what you're saying. It's not something which everybody knows about, and nobody needs it, right? A lot of people do not need it. Us as a developer, we need it, right? If you want to learn development, you need it. But most of people, why do they care about this data, right? But again, this is a very useful data. Okay, so let's go back to the slide. So now you saw what is backend. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about more about backends. Okay. So when I talk about backend, you see, I'm talking about um, where can I write backend? Okay. So then comes Node.js. What is Node.js? Again, it's built on top of JavaScript. It's basically runtime of JavaScript. Okay. So what happens is, okay, first you need to understand what is runtime and everything. You will be confused. Okay. Do not worry. Let me explain it. Okay. So JavaScript is a language which is only supported in your web browser. Wait a second. Play from current slide. Let me go to Chrome. So if I go here anywhere, here, let's say I click on inspect. Okay. Elements is where I can see HTMLs, right? This is HTML. Console is where I can write my JavaScript. So JavaScript is a language of browsers. Okay. So browser can understand JavaScript. That's the best way where you can write JavaScript code. Okay. This is the best place where you can write JavaScript code. Okay. Now what we did was we extracted the JavaScript from here, from the browser. We extracted it and we put it on our computer and it became Node.js. Simple, no runtime, no big words. Okay, so we extracted it from here and we throw it into our computer. That became Node.js. I mean, this is a simple, explanation of what is Node.js. Again, it's JavaScript. Okay, do not worry, it is JavaScript. Okay, but it is running on our computers, not browsers. Okay, guys, everybody clear what is Node.js? Yes, no? Okay, great, great, great. So now we know what Node.js is. And so there are other languages as well, like Python can also run or can also code, on this thing, can also code backends. Okay. But in Node.js, the framework in we code generally, so Node.js is very capable of writing APIs, but we generally do not write APIs directly in Node.js. We use a framework called Express, okay, to write Node.js APIs. Okay, do not worry about what Express is. You will come to know about it. I'm just trying to give you a bird eye view. Just see it from the top level and try to understand what it is. Okay, please explain Node.js again. Can you repeat the backend? Type. Yep. I'll do that. I'll come back to that. Okay. I'll come back to that. Both of the things. Let me explain this one. Then I'll come back to that. Okay. Cool. Yep. I will explain Node.js again. Okay. So, okay. Let me actually do that right now. So basically, just try to understand. First thing, JavaScript can only be written in browser. This is clear. Everybody understands. JavaScript is a language of browsers. So browser have a capability of understanding and writing JavaScript. Okay, good. What we did, what we did is we grabbed JavaScript from the browser. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna again. I don't want to tell you complicated words and stuff. But there is something called V8 engine. Okay, which is running JavaScript here. Okay, there is an engine which is running JavaScript here. Okay, so basically we grabbed that engine, bought it out, and put it on our laptops. Okay, where laptops? In our command lines, terminal. Everybody knows about terminal. Yes, if you are using Windows, it is command prompt. If you're using Mac, it is terminal. If you're using Ubuntu, it's also terminal, right? So we basically somehow compiled that V8 engine. Okay, and it's not the car's V8 engine again. Okay, so it's not that. Basically, we compiled the JavaScript from the browser. We bought it out and put it here in the terminal to use it in our laptop. Okay, everybody understood now what is Node.js? That became Node.js. That basically is a runtime of JavaScript which is running here. Okay, in the terminal. We call it a runtime of JavaScript. Okay, when we put it on the terminal, we called it runtime of JavaScript, and then we named it Node.js. That's all. Okay. So now that you know what Node.js is, now you understand now what is Express. Express is nothing. We can directly make APIs on Node.js. Express just makes it easier. Like React. React makes it easier to code front end. Okay. So what we call React, we call it a framework. Here also Express is a framework of Node.js. Okay. Which is making it easier to make APIs. Again, I'll be showing you how to make APIs and everything in details in the class, obviously. But right now, just understand the bird eye view. Okay. Is this the only way? Can you only make APIs with Node.js and Express? Nope. You can make it with other languages. You can make it with Java. Okay, the framework with Java is Spring Boot. Okay, so you can make it with Spring Boot. You can make with Python. Python, you can use Django. Django is the framework, Python is the language. Okay, so you can make it with different languages as well. But we consider Node. Okay, one more thing. Node.js is very fast, very, very fast. Okay, that is why we consider Node.js, you know, to build, backend on that. Again, Django also have their own, good things and bad things. But again, you have to learn Python fully to go to Django. But with Node.js, because you are learning JavaScript on front end, so you don't need to learn anything to come to Node.js basically. Okay, so that's why Node.js is the easiest way to get in, and it's one of the best. Node.js is one of the best. Yep. That's correct. It's like Django. Yep, exactly. Both are like you can create APIs with anything. Like if you want Node.js Express, go ahead. If you want to create a backend with Django X Python, go ahead. Both are good. Both are equally good. Okay. Node.js is slight bit faster, I would say, because I've used it. I've used both. I've used Node.js. I've used Django. I've used Flask. Again, one more framework of Python. It's very light framework. I've used Spring Boot as well. I would say Node.js by far, I think, has a lot of functionalities. Spring Boot also has a lot of functionalities, but again, Node.js also has decent number of functionalities, and it's easier to learn because you are already learning JavaScript in front end. You are applying the same information here. It's basically easier. And once you learn one thing, to switch on another thing, it's very easy. But you have to learn one thing first. If you learn Node.js plus Express, it's very easy to switch to Django. Okay, if you want in future or something. But first of all, you need to learn something in that case, right? Okay, so if you see, there is an API example here in the, you know, in this thing. Um, uh, this is for, if you see, this is for some product. I'm fetching some product. It's a some sort of, we call it a GET request. Okay, do not worry about what's written here. Just try to understand that it's JSON, right? Curly brackets are there. Some curly brackets are there. There is ID. There is ID. There is name. There is name. Right? Pretty simple. Do not worry about what's written at the top and down. Just see this. Name is laptop, name is phone. ID is 2, ID is 1. That's all. Okay, it's a JSON data. It's very easy to understand. Okay, cool guys. So if you have understood so far, let's move forward. Let's see what is database technologies, right? So again, database has to be secure. Okay, so when somebody comes to your website and register in your website, gives you username and your password, you need to keep it safe, right? What I can do, I can take their username and password, take it in the backend and just store it in a file. Correct? Yes or no? Guys, come on, tell me. Making sense, right? I'm making sense, right? I can just take it and save it in a text file. But that will be a problem with two things. First is security, second is handling. If I just continue on doing that, if there are thousands and thousands of passwords and email, it will be very hard to handle. With database, the handling part becomes very easy. Second and most important is security. So it will also provide you security. It will have a passkey, it will have a secret token to access database and everything. So for these two things, database is better than a text file. Okay, now everybody knows what we do in database, right? Why we use in database, right? Why are not we using a text file? Why are not we using something else? Why database? This is the reason why. Okay, cool guys. So that is the reason why we are using database. And let's see what databases you can see. You can see MongoDB, you can see Postgres SQL, you can see MySQL. Okay, so basically try to understand in a very simple manner. Postgres and this MySQL is basically in a table format. Okay, we call it relational or traditional database. Okay, these are like relational database, like in a tabular format. Table, you all know, right? Everybody knows about table. So I can make index. I think we all make indexes, right? Serial number, topic name, page number. That is a table, right? Something like that. Okay, this is something like that. Everybody clear what's a relational database or like tabular format of database? Yes, no in the chat. Yep. And MongoDB is basically like JSON data. You saw JSON data, MongoDB is like that, basically. Okay. So it's different flavor of things. No? Okay, I see one no. I'll explain it again, even if it is one no. Okay, what I mean by that is everybody has seen tables, right? Tables, serial number, index, your title of things, title of whatever. So index page, I mean, let me just show you. Everybody might have seen index page. Index page. I'm just going to write it normally. Okay, everybody has seen this index page, serial number, date, title, page. Give me yes or no now. Everybody has seen that? There's a table, right? There's a table that we are following, correct? So now the first two, the last two database, the Postgres and MySQL, is basically based on that kind of database, tabular format database. And MongoDB is more like this, more like this. Okay, it stores the information more like this. It is called NoSQL database. NoSQL, no table basically. Just think about no table database. Okay. So that's the difference. If you ask me what do I prefer, I love MongoDB, but in a lot of times Postgres also is a very good option. Okay, but I think I love MongoDB. If I have to choose one, I will choose MongoDB any day. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, so database are very important as you understand by now. So let's go next. Let's see what's next. Next is version control and CI/CD pipelines. Very important, very important, very important. Now you have made your whole thing. Now you have made your whole product. What will you do? You want your product. Is Firebase a database? Firebase has a lot of service, including database. Yes, but Firebase has a lot of service, including database. Yes. Okay. Listen to this, guys. Okay. So now that you have built your product, what do you want? You wanted to deploy the product, right? You want the product to be in front of a lot of people. You want your product to be seen, correct? This is what will help you. Okay. So basically, you see, okay, let me tell you about Git and GitHub properly. I think this example will help. Internet Archive, Time Machine. I'm not sure on what I'm writing right now. Okay, it's good. Wayback Machine. This. Anybody knows about Wayback Machine? Give me yes or no in the chat. Anybody knows about Wayback Machine? Nope, nope, nope. Okay, that's cool. No problem. So let's go to Amazon.in right now. This is what Amazon.in right now looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like right now. Okay, all good. Now let's put this URL Amazon.in here. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it on 2013. Okay, so basically Wayback Machine, as you have guessed, maybe that it will show you whatever it looks like, in far past, basically. Let's take a snapshot. Let's look at this. How was Amazon.in 2013 in India? Let's see. This is Amazon.in 2013. Everybody can see. This is Amazon.in 2013. Now tell me, which do you like? This one or this one? The current one or the 2013 one? This is Amazon.in. That's how it looked like in 2013. Oh, wow. Somebody said 2013 one. Come on. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I think obviously current one, right? Current one is updated and everything. It has like, this kind of things. It's pretty cool, right? And this is the 2013 one, which is like just pretty old, right? Okay, 2013. Okay, a lot of fans of old things. That's good. That's good. Okay, basically the point was, um, they had a lot of versions, right? They had a lot of versions: V1, V2, V3, V100. I don't know, right? So all the version control can be done with Git. Git is a software which can control all the versions. Everybody understood what is Git? Yes, no, in the chat. So 2013 one maybe was the version 1. Okay. Today it's version 100. No? Okay. Those who said no, basically it's nothing. 2013 it was different, looks different, right? Let's say that is version 1. 2014 maybe they launched version 2. So Git basically will help you control that version, means change that version properly, keeping record of the previous version as well. So all in all, Git basically helps you control your version. okay, and keep your code organized so that you have snapshot of all the versions. Okay, do not worry about what exactly it does, how it does. Just understand the overview, what it does. Okay, it's a version control software, so it controls your version. Means you have 2013 version, 14 version, 15 version. Git will map all the versions and know the difference between each code. Okay, so Git actually helps you in that. I hope now this is clear. Okay, GitHub. Okay, sure. So PHP again is a very old, language. Um, you can build backends with it pretty good. We used it a lot in one time. Right now nobody, like, not nobody, a lot of people use it, yes, but it's kind of out in popularity. It's like, just think about it as Node.js and Django, but a bit old. Okay. Okay, just come back to the topic. So GitHub basically is where you keep your code. Okay, GitHub is a website. Basically, it's just this. Okay, you just go to github.com. Okay, this is GitHub. You can sign up here. Okay, this is where you will keep your codes. Um, you can keep it public, you can keep it private. Okay, so this is where you keep your codes. Then what is CI/CD automations? Now, this becomes hassle to push the code, understand the versioning, run your tests. This whole process becomes a hassle after some time. So CI/CD basically is for automating these kind of small things. Okay, so we can automate the pushing the code. It's going to the GitHub, then GitHub runs some test. Then if the test fails, it will let you know. If the test doesn't fail, it will push into production. All these will be done with a script, so you can write scripts for it. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, so again, to understand it easily, just think about it. When you push to production, when you not push to production, when you push a code on GitHub, okay, and then when you want it to go to production and everything, there's a lot of test going on. So when you build a feature, you will test it, right? So that test, and then after test, you want that final code to be on production. All these we can automate using CI/CD basically. What is the difference between Git and GitHub? Git is basically version controlling software. Okay. GitHub is basically a website where you can have your code. Okay. Now, what is Git? I'll show you in person right now. Terminal. Git is here. Git is in my terminal. Git dash V. Let's search the version of Git. I have Git already. So this is my version of Git. Okay. So Git is version control software. You can control the version. You basically, this is GitHub is basically which keeps your code, which stores your code. Git is basically which pushes the code on GitHub or any, like, there is something called GitLab. There is something called Atlassian's Bitbucket. Bitbucket is also same as GitHub. Okay, similar to GitHub, not same, similar. Okay, Bitbucket is there, GitHub is there. These all are websites where you can keep your code basically. Git is the version control software. It's the main thing. Okay. I hope that this is clear. Being said that, that's what CI/CD pipeline is and Git and GitHub is. Now, next step is this. When you have your code on GitHub, what's the next thing? The next thing is deployment, right? Where do you deploy? Everybody in the chat, let me know if you've heard about AWS or GCP or any cloud service providers. Can I use Git to host any project? No, you can use GitHub to host any project, not Git. Git is just controlling your version, guys. Git is just version control. Okay, nothing else. Yes, I use GitHub pages. Correct. GitHub pages can host. Yep. AWS, yes, yes, yes. I see. No, those who do not know what AWS, pretty easy. Try to understand them that they lend you their computers. Okay. What is AWS? AWS basically lends you their computer. Okay. Yep, Azure, GCP. Okay, those who are not aware about it. Okay, just think about it like this. Let me just open a white page. I'm not sure whiteboard is not opening. This is my favorite. This app is really good. I think it is open source also. Yeah, now it's opening. Start. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, if you want to understand AWS in a nutshell, AWS has a lot of products, first of all. Okay, AWS has a lot of products. Okay, one product is EC2. EC2. We call it EC2. Okay, I've written here in the PPT as well. EC2 for hosting. If you want to host something, EC2 you will use. Okay, so is AWS has a lot of products. Okay, development grade products, not clothing products. Okay, so Amazon sells a lot of things. Okay, so again I'm saying AWS has a lot of products. Okay, so Amazon Web Services, that's the full form. Okay, web service. So it's provide a lot of services to you. It has the first product. Let me talk about it. Is EC2. EC2. Okay. What is this EC2? You need to know about that. Not AWS. AWS is just a service, right? The company is calling themselves AWS. Okay. What is Amazon's Web Services? Simple, right? They are providing services. The product is important. What are the products? EC2 is one of the products. What does EC2 do? EC2 helps you host your projects. Okay. Again, we have a lot of other examples as well. We have Azure, GCP, Hostinger, right? Does the same thing. Okay. So EC2 does that. Okay. Now what happens is, what EC2 does is basically you can put your code on EC2. What is EC2? It's a computer, like it's a laptop, it's a device. Okay, something like that. Okay, just think about it as your laptop. It's somebody's laptop. Okay, that you are using. Just think about, just in a simple terms, what it is a laptop. But do you get the laptop physically? No. You use it virtually. I can connect to an EC2 laptop or a instance. I call it instance. Okay. So I can connect to an EC2 instance, which basically means I have a laptop virtually. Now, what is the benefit? That laptop never shuts down. That laptop, you don't need to worry about the electricity and everything. They take care of everything. Who? Amazon takes care of everything. Okay. Now everybody understands what is this? What I'm talking about? Give me yes, no in the chat. Yes, yes. I see just one yes. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. So that's what I'm talking about, right? So very simple. It's a laptop, okay, which has your code and it never shuts down. You can use it. Now what you do, you make this laptop public. Somehow you make the network of the network of this laptop public. So it provides you an URL, which is your web app. Simple, all good. Everybody understands? So basically that's all. That's all, EC2 is. You're hosting on a laptop. You're running the code on a laptop. That's all. Yes, there is a lot of security things that is going on, but in a nutshell, this is what it is. Okay. Apart of that, we see something called Route 53 for DNS. Now, just think about this as you have a domain, right? Like for example, google.com is a domain. You can buy a domain on GoDaddy and Namecheap and a lot of websites, right? If you want to connect that domain with your EC2 instance, you use Route 53. This is another product of AWS. Okay. Got it? S3 is also like storage. If you have images, where will you store images? You can store it on EC2. Either you can store it on your laptop, EC2 laptop, or you can store it on S3. It's your choice. Okay. Lambda is basically not EC2, it shuts down. Lambda is EC2, but it shuts down. After some time, it will shut down. If there is no use, Lambda laptop will shut down. Just think about a laptop. Okay. No, don't worry about big complicated words. As EC2 and Lambda is similar. The problem is Lambda shuts down after 5 minutes. After 5-10 minutes, if there is no use, it will shut down. If there is again use, it will start and then it will show. Okay. Simple. These are all product of AWS. This is not rocket science. This is very easy. EC2, Route 53, S3, and Lambda. All are products, nothing else. Okay. Cool, guys. So that's all. So basically, your full stack journey will be covering all these things. I have not covered few things here, like we have containers like Dockers, right? Kubernetes. We'll consider, we'll do that as well. That is, let's understand this thing, then we'll understand those things. Okay. So yeah, apart of that, the journey is basically like this. You come in the class, you learn things. After learning things, you push codes on GitHub. This will build your portfolio. This will build everything around you, basically. Okay. That is the most important thing. Resume does not work today. Today, what works is your portfolio, is what you have done. If you, so suppose, let's say you come and tell me that you have coded for last 6 months continuously every day, I won't believe you. But if you show me your GitHub that yes, I have pushed code every day for 6 months, I would hire you for sure. Who won't, right? Who won't? If you are that committed to doing coding, and if you have, good amount of and good quality of pushes in GitHub, very good, right? That secures, that will be providing you everything. Okay, any opportunity in the world. Okay, so yep. That being said, that's all, guys, from my side. I think it was an amazing, connecting with you all. Okay. So, yep, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Um, and I think over to Ramesh and his team, for they will explain you all about everything about this, coding.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sneha, your voice is breaking out. I'm not sure if everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, you can like end the session. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.